Good morning. I want to take a few minutes to take a look at demand and supply. Demand and supply, or the topics of demand and supply, is the basic foundation of any economics course that you will take, and therefore I find it necessary to perhaps explain them a little more in detail and certainly a little more personal than the book will, than you can get out of the book. The first thing we're going to take a look at is demand. Demand is a schedule. It is a schedule that shows the various amounts of a product that you will purchase at each price in a series of prices over some time period. It is a schedule. It is a schedule just like a train schedule or an airplane schedule. When you go to travel someplace where you're going to be flying and you go in and you see the marquee or the TVs and it tells you the schedule for that particular airline. If you're flying US Air, flight 322 will leave at gate H1 or what have you. That is a schedule. That is a schedule that shows you the flights that are leaving and the gate that they're leaving from. And demand is no different. Demand is just a schedule that shows you the various amounts of a product that you will purchase at each price in a series of prices. So in other words, what we have up here is we have, first of all, just a few items that we want to talk about. Q, what we call sub d or little d, capital uppercase Q followed by lowercase d. Quantity demanded, this is what quantity demanded stands for, Q sub d. And the triangle in economic circles means change. So you're going to see me using these, this nomenclature throughout this particular video. What we have up here is the demand schedule. The entire grouping of numbers is the demand schedule. Remember, the demand schedule is a schedule that shows us the various amounts of a product that you will purchase at each price. If the price of this particular good is $1, you will buy 18 units of it. Let's assume this is cups of coffee that you buy per week. If the price of coffee is $1, you will purchase 18 cups of coffee that particular week. If the price of coffee is $2, you will purchase 15 cups of coffee that week. This refers to, this particular price quantity demanded combination refers to the quantity demanded at this price. That's what this refers to. The quantity that I demand at a price of $1 would be 18 cups of coffee. If the price of coffee increases for some reason, we really don't know why just yet, but if the price of coffee increases to $2, then the quantity that I will demand is 15. And you can see how these change. If the price is $3, the quantity demanded that I demand of coffee that week will be 12. And if the price is $4, the quantity demanded will be 9. But the entire category, the entire grouping of numbers is considered to be my demand schedule. Now, in order for us to view the relationship between price and quantity demanded, all we're going to do is take a picture of that. Well, that's all we're going to do is take a picture of that relationship. And the picture that we're going to take is called a graph. A graph is a horizontal line that intersects a vertical line at one common point called 0. We have our price on our vertical axis. This must be on the vertical axis, and our quantity demanded on our horizontal axis. Quantity demanded must be on our horizontal axis. And all we're going to do is just take a look at each price quantity combination and plot that on the graph. So if the price is $1, that means that I will purchase 18 cups of coffee. If I go up to 1, remember 0 is common to both quantity demanded and price. If I come up to 1, I go over to 18 cups, I plot a point. If the price is $2, I go up to $2. I come over to 15 and I plot a point. $3 is 12. $4, come up to 4, come over to 9, plot a point. 5 and 6. And if I simply connect these points, I have a picture of my demand schedule, and we call this my demand curve. This is called my demand curve. The demand curve is nothing more than a picture. That's all it is. It is just a picture of my demand schedule that tells me the amount of a product that I will purchase at each price in a series of prices. Now, if we take a look at this for a minute, we can see that my demand curve slopes downwards, meaning that it starts in the state of Washington and ends in Florida. It slopes downward. It slopes downward because of what we call the law of demand. The law of demand basically says that there is an inverse or a negative relationship between price and quantity demanded. That there is an inverse or a negative relationship. Inverse simply means that price and quantity demanded will go in opposite directions. And if we take a look at this, we can see that if the price of coffee goes to $2, I will only purchase 15 units. If the price of coffee goes to $3, I will purchase if the price of coffee goes to $3, I will purchase 12 cups of coffee that week. And if we take a look at this on our graph, we can see that if the price of coffee is $2, and then next week that price of coffee increases to $3, my quantity demanded decreases. We call this a change in quantity demanded. It is a movement along my demand curve. So therefore, price determines quantity demanded. Now, why do we have this inverse relationship that if price goes up, my quantity demanded goes down, or if my price goes down, quantity demanded goes up? They work like a seesaw, if you want to think of it that way. The reason is this. If the price goes up to $2, that means that I have to spend more of my income to buy these extra 3 cups. And therefore, I have less income to spend on something else. And therefore, because it goes up, well, I only want 15 cups of coffee this week because I want to spend the extra money on a piece of fruit, perhaps a Danish, perhaps whatever other good you can think of. So that is the relationship, that is the difference between the law of demand. Law of demand states that there's an inverse. We can also think of a negative, but we're really not going to get into those types of categories right now. An inverse relationship, meaning that if my price goes up, my quantity demanded goes down. My price goes down, my quantity demanded goes up. And that's basically what we have with our demand schedule. If you have any questions concerning demand or any of the other videos that we have, I ask that you please place them on discussion board. Email me personally. I will email you the response personally and then post that on discussion board. Thank you very much. Have a great day.